This sort of content is one of the more common types of slop that we see. Long YouTube videos of a creator just kind of sitting there and watching someone else's video, pausing every 10 to 15 seconds, commenting on something, and then continuing. However, a lot of the time, these videos are almost always presented as if they aren't just glorified reaction videos with vague and interesting titles, and also really good thumbnails most of the time, making them seem like much more than they actually are.
Subscribe!
Let me start off by saying that YouTube can be a very, very profitable platform if you play your cards right. There are respectable ways to make a living on the platform, and there are less respectable ways. This results in sort of metas that creators follow. Some of these require a lot of work. For example, in 2021, when icebergs dominated YouTube, many creators started making videos in that format, and were very, very successful for it. However, to make a good iceberg video, a lot of research and effort was required, leading to many people to hop onto the bandwagon, but in result,
saying every iceberg video required a lot of effort, I don't think is necessarily true. Me personally, I'm not sure if that is like a fair thing to say. However, it does depend on the subject. It depends on how in-depth you want to get, how accurate you want to be. But you could definitely poop out a quick iceberg video, especially now with AI. I feel like you could out a low effort iceberg video pretty easily. To assume that every iceberg video required a lot of effort and time, I guess is where I want to have a nitpick there. I don't think that's necessarily true.
they produce some pretty decent content. However, recently, a genre of content has become incredibly profitable. But unlike iceberg videos, these videos have zero value in terms of entertainment, information, or quality.
That's kind of crazy to say. If it had zero entertainment value, zero value in general, there's no reason to make it. Yeah, then no one would watch it. I've seen plenty of zero value dog not worth watching content that does not get views. However, to say that Slop is just across the board not good, low quality, unentertaining content is absolutely an insanely wide brush to a brush stroke, that's a huge generalization. Is some Slop content complete? Absolutely. XQC does exist. Sniper Wolf does exist. We can be real that there is absolutely low effort, bad, not good content that it's a bit mind-boggling why it gets numbers. To paint Moist Critical and other Slop commentary reaction channels, Moist Critical, Asbit, all of those people, Mudahar, on the same level as Sniper Wolf, it's kind of crazy. It's just a lack of nuance that kind of makes me feel insane.
YouTube's Slop problem. There are a lot of different ways that Slop can succeed on this platform. Most of you are likely familiar with content farms that produce content for children with little to no value. And in many cases, these videos are straight up inappropriate and expose their young audiences to some pretty messed up stuff. However,
yeah, it's kind of crazy how much that does still exist after the Spider-Man and Elsa. Do you guys remember Spider-Man and Elsa? The amount that this stuff still exists after that is so wild.
That's not the subject of today's video. Drama is something that people are inherently drawn to. It's in our nature to seek out new and exciting information regarding scandals and controversies. Mainstream media has known this for decades and has heavily profited off of it. This is by no means different on YouTube, and it has been so for a long time. However, the difference is in the presentation. Things haven't always been this oversaturated. Back in the 2010s, drama channels were huge on YouTube, but people mainly went to the big channels as their sources, like Scarce and the infamous Drama Alert. Those were the two titans of YouTube drama commentary. Beneath them were the commentary YouTubers, either leafy clones or white guys with annoying voices and a face cam. Things remained this way for a while, with a very consistent formula for the way that information was spread. Generally, the big two would release some breaking drama, which would then trickle down to the commentary creators, which would then trickle down to the facecam commentary creators, who generally put a bit more time into their editing and scripts. There were definitely many moments in which misinformation was spread and believed to be as fact, but generally, narratives remained pretty consistent. However, this entire ecosystem changed in 2020 when the world locked down, and everyone suddenly had quite a lot of free time. This led to lots of people trying their hand at making YouTube videos.
So many. 2020 was definitely a changing point in a lot of things, like content-wise, for sure. I am interested in how we are believing that 2020 was a direct influence on this like slop content, I guess. But that's true. Dude, so many people just popped out of nowhere in 2020.
Many people attempted, and well, many succeeded, with there being almost a baby boom of content creators who hit it big during lockdown. And many of these people continue to create videos to this day. Now, this may seem like a good thing, right?
Yes.
New YouTubers means new and unique talent, tons of unique people who can provide a unique perspective, ideas, and content style that sticks out from the rest, right? Right? Well, sure. Some people fit this criteria. However, many creators have fallen to create commentary slop.
And it doesn't take some galaxy brain.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a bit of a, maybe I'm a stan, maybe I'm a simp. Having any negative opinion of Moist Critical pisses me off. I'll take criticism with just about anybody else. But like, there's obviously been valid criticism of Charlie, you know? But I do think that Charlie is somebody who has always very much cared about providing value and doing his best. He stopped doing React content because he felt like he was, taking advantage of other people's hard work. He didn't want to do that. He does take the community's feedback into account when he feels like it's fair feedback. And he does, like, I don't know, using Charlie as like the visual example, I don't know if we're going to say that Charlie is shit, right? But I think that Charlie is a terrible example of somebody who just slaps out dog shit that has no value. Charlie is as big as he is because he has value to people and because people like him. I think it is just an odd thing to write off any creator and say that they have no value. It might not be value that you think is good or that you respect, right? But they do have value to someone somewhere, or they wouldn't get views, you know?
Genius.
Man with 300 million subscribers. He's got a burger business, a chocolate bar company.
Yeah, I think we might actually have the first YouTube scholar on our hands here.
Commentary slop can best be described as lazy, derivative, low-effort, frequently uploaded content that covers modern events and incidents. Like the old Leafy is here in...
Yes, derivative, I think, is fair. I think that's a fair thing to say. But, however, what the is not derivative in content, I guess, is my question. That doesn't mean bad. What is not derivative of something else at this point on YouTube? There's always going to be some inspiration to what you're doing. Is that true to a certain extent? All of them? Yeah, kind of. But that doesn't mean that it's automatically bad or not entertaining.
Our cynical videos, these videos often feature video game footage with minimal editing when needed. These sorts of videos are often hard to tell apart from each other, or from the rest, as generally the only unique aspect about them is the voice of the creator, as the actual content is very cookie cutter. Another genre of commentary slop is stream clips, which are often even lazier than the videos mentioned prior. These stream clip videos generally consist of a content creator who has already grown a sizable audience on their main channel, where they put a lot of effort into their content, which has led them to grow a loyal fan base, who will just kind of watch anything that they do. This leads them to live stream on either Twitch or YouTube. Those streams, who are often multiple hours in length, then get chopped up into different segments per topic, given minimal editing, and then shipped out as a fresh new video. Oftentimes these videos are just reaction videos in disguise, as generally the creator kind of just watches the video, pauses the video every 10 seconds, spat out some opinion related to what they're watching, or hell, just go on some completely unrelated...
Well, I'll go ahead and do my 10-second pause. It's been more than 10 seconds because I wanted you to get your thought out, but see, because the thing is I want to respond without also being inherently defensive of my own content, because I don't feel the need to defend my content. I think that if you don't like reaction content or you don't like my content, you can just not watch it. So I'm trying to see how I can respond without it seeming like I'm getting like triggered and I need to defend myself, because I really don't feel the need to. I don't think it is appropriate or respectful for a content creator to dismiss another content creator's skill because they don't value that skill. Making content live that is also worth watching off stream, like on YouTube, is like pretty difficult. Being a live entertainer is also pretty difficult. There is a lot of skill there that is required. And I'm saying that as somebody that's obviously, hi, I'm live on twitch.tv and this is going to be cut into a video. You know what I mean? But I don't think that it's like there's no skill to it and there's no effort. However, there is a very large aspect of people who absolutely and 100% do not put any effort into their content and should be shamed. You know, that's what like Jax Films is doing, you know, where he does the reaction bingo. Oh, he didn't actually provide any commentary. It's not actually transformative. They're not adding anything to the conversation. You know what I mean? I don't know that most of the creators you've pointed to do that. And there is skill involved in making the content live and able to be edited. It takes time and effort, and it is kind of hard. I don't know, because it's like, I don't need to defend my content. That's fine. But I also just think that this person is just obviously very pretentious and dismissive of other people's content. And I think that maybe all of that thought about judging other people's content could be used to better make his own content instead of like worrying about other people's views and what they're doing with theirs.
Rant spurred on by someone donating or a popular message in their chat. This leads to these videos to be almost impossible to watch as they're so long and, well, pointless.
For you. They are impossible to watch for you because it's not content that you were ever going to enjoy. And that's okay. I posted like a 2.5-hour video about reacting to a video about Nikocado avocado. People were watched a crazy amount of that video. To you, you find it impossible and pointless to watch. That's totally fine too. That does not mean that they are impossible to watch and pointless and not valuable. Some people genuinely like Slop content. I like Slop content and I like making Slop content, but you're stating your opinion as a fact. That's not really how you're doing currently, like commentary content, right? However, it's not Slop commentary content, but you're not doing a very like respectful or constructive job at that either.
I actually have an exact example that I'd like to use.
Okay.
On June 25th, 2024, I released a video about the word unalive and the absurdity of self-censorship. Since negativity thrives on this platform, the video did really, really well, and was seen by tons and tons of YouTubers, including the one and only Pyrocynical. For those unfamiliar, Pyro is a YouTuber who's been actively making videos for a long time, with him originally making Leafy is Here gameplay commentary style videos, but eventually switched to a more varied content style, featuring both reviews, video essays, and general comedic videos, looking at and riffing off topical subject matter.
I'd like to state my bias here that I like Pyrocynical. So wherever we go from here, I have a bias toward this content creator. I like Pyro. I like Voice Critical. I like a lot of these content creators. I'm gonna be a shooter for my goats. Sorry.
This show was called A Series of Tubes and was very popular in the late 2010s.
So
All of his videos were pretty well edited and, well, also very entertaining. However, this main channel ended up becoming more and more focused on high-effort video essays, so the commentaries were moved to the livestream channel, which is where most of his content is uploaded today. This content style now includes footage from either a stream clip or an individually recorded video with minimal editing about current subject matters. This content strategy is basically what has won YouTube in recent times. However, my personal experience comes in when Pyro made a reaction video to my Unalive video.
How do I say? It's giving bitter. It's giving green with envy. And I think jealousy and envy are okay as a content creator. You will feel it eventually when you make content. So what is the alternative? If he wants to make, okay, we have to understand that this is also an algorithm thing, right? It is an algorithm thing that you put out content that is longer, that keeps people interested, and is posted more regularly. Primo, prime, perfect, the best. If you can post long form content, like an hour-long content, that people watch a significant portion of, because watch time is like the most important metric on Twitch, or not on Twitch, on YouTube, and you also post it regularly, that's an algorithm thing that it gets a lot of views. But that's also because you have to understand, if that video doesn't get watch time, it will stop getting views. It will not be a well-performing video for you. If you post an hour-and-a-half long video, but people watch 5 minutes of it because it's not good and it's not entertaining, then YouTube will stop showing it. But people do watch the video, which means that there is some amount of entertainment value for somebody, even if it's not you.
Titled, TikTok is Changing Our Language. This is an hour, 38-minute stream clip of him watching my video, which is only 40 minutes long for context. Now, when I was alerted of this, I was beyond excited, and I sat down with my friends to see what he would say about my video. And just to be clear, to preface my criticism, I don't want to come off as criticizing these creators as people, or their character in the slightest. This is just a critique of the content that they produce. That being said, this video was very hard to watch. Not in a way that it made me cringe or misrepresented myself, but hard to watch because there was so much rambling, so many distractions, and so little focus placed on the actual subject matter at hand. Which, again, his video is nearly an entire hour longer than the video that's being reacted to. However, most of this hour is just filled up with unrelated things, which is, again, why it's hard to watch. It was hard to follow. It was difficult. This sort of
I think I'm going to do something a bit controversial yet brave here. I agree. I think that there is a fair criticism that often reaction content can be bloated by tangents. And when they are not valuable tangents and they're not edited out, it can be frustrating. And yeah, the video would have been 10 minutes less long, like 10 minutes shorter or whatever. But I actually think that's a fair criticism. When somebody is constantly going on insane tangents and going on total, like, off the subject matter and it's totally, like, irrelevant, I'll probably click off of it. However, if somebody is expanding upon your point, I don't think that that's the same thing as a tangent. And again, I've not watched this video, so maybe that's not what, I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened. He seems very offended by it. And that's kind of the part where it's like, why are you so mad? Because I'll say that in my reactions, I've had to get better at not doing crazy long tangents because then my editor has a lot extra work to do. So I try my best to keep it more, topical, more on point, keep myself on the video, right? And that's fair. But, like, I just don't understand why you're so upset. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know.
of content is one of the more common types of slop that we see. Long YouTube videos of a creator just kind of sitting there and watching someone else's video, pausing every 10 to 15 seconds, commenting on something, and then continuing. However, as a creator, it's not actually a bad thing to have a big YouTuber make some slop reaction videos too.
Why are we zooming on Moist Critical like he does reaction videos anymore? Like this? / Jen. Because he doesn't do reaction content anymore. He's talked about that, like, a lot of times. Unless that suddenly changed recently. But he doesn't do pure reaction videos like that anymore because he didn't feel like he was really adding anything, or like that he was benefiting the creators and he didn't want to take advantage of people. However, how else would they get would you prefer that they don't pause? You want me to just watch it all the way through quietly and then give my commentary? Like, how would it work? Because commentary and reaction content will exist regardless of whether or not you like it. It's kind of one of those, like, you have to accept the things you cannot change and change the things you can. You can't change this. If you don't want people reacting to your content, I highly recommend putting that in your, like, description box or reaching out to those creators. How would you prefer that they do it so you feel like it's high effort enough? Do you want them to edit over your edit, like edit extra edits or something? Like, I don't understand the criticism here, I guess. Oh, well, they just sit there and every 10 to 15 seconds pause and give a thought. Well, yeah, you said a thing and then they pause and then they said a thing. That's how it works.
Your content. YouTubers like Tuv completely had their careers launched by Moist Critical, having their videos be watched on stream, which is something that I would personally welcome with open arms. However, a lot of the time, these videos are almost always presented as if they aren't just glorified reaction videos.
So, so you would welcome Moist Critical watching one of your videos with open arms, which again, he doesn't do reaction content like that anymore because of the exposure and attention you would get from it, but you don't respect his work at all. Are we on the same page here? Are we understanding? Are we on the same level? You don't respect the work of, like, that reaction content creator. You don't respect the commentary. You don't like their content. You don't think it's good. You don't think it's worthwhile. But you'll take the exposure. Like, wouldn't that mean, like, oh, I don't want these, like, filthy heathens to slop my content out? It's just like, if we want to be so for real, you said YouTube has a slop problem and put, like, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You put 10 big content creators on there. So, hey, if we want to have a bit, it's a bit of a bad faith argument, but it's not like you're safe from this.
With vague and interesting titles, and also really good thumbnails most of the time, making them seem like much more than they actually are.
They dare have good thumbnails. How could they? I'll say I specifically tend to put that I'm reacting in the title because I don't want to be disingenuous like that. Me personally, that's just a choice that I make. But, like, what are you criticizing about the thumbnail? Why is that even included? They have really good thumbnails. Well, yeah, that's how you get people to click on your video. What?
However, stream clip re-uploads aren't the only type of digital junk food consumed by the masses. One of the most successful genres are commentary drama channels. To make a brief distinction, there's a difference between commentary channels like Scott Kramer, Eddie Burback, or Danny Gonzalez.
Okay.
Creators like this are often regarded as commentary channels, but a different commentary from what we're discussing today. It's a bit confusing, but, just stick with me. Drama commentary channels often upload on a near daily basis, covering the topical news and online culture. They almost never cover anything other than controversy and scandal, though, since mass audiences don't seem to care for stories regarding anything positive, right?
It smells of bitterness. Oh, well, my video about Derpy, the My Little Pony from 15 million years ago, they didn't really like that. And so it's not fair that other people get to do other things and get success for it. But my thing, you understand, like, there's an algorithm. The algorithm is what people want to watch. If you make something that people don't want to watch, there's this crazy thing where they don't watch it. My Little Pony is a bit of a dead topic. So it's giving salt. It's giving bitter. It's giving upset. You're very focused on views here. And maybe we focus more on making good content.
These channels are often in a mad dash to be the first to cover something topical, whether or not their information is correct, and also whether or not there's actually any additional information. They'll still cover the same topic over and over and over and over and over and over again until they can no longer profit from it, leaving them to switch up to the most hot topic. These channels come in all shapes and sizes, with legacy YouTubers like Moist Critical and some ordinary gamers being at the top of the quality food chain. Beneath them,
Okay, so we're saying that they do have better quality. That's nice. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, the algorithm is a particular way, and how people watch and intake content is a particular way. It has changed from the early days of YouTube, which is probably like the golden age for this person, which I understand. I also enjoyed that period of time on the internet. But the way that people intake and take part in content has changed significantly, even in the last couple of years, like from COVID. And it's changed since COVID as well. And so if you don't want to take part in the algorithm, that's fine. That is a choice you're making, though. If people have found a way to utilize the algorithm more effectively than you, either you learn to use the algorithm more effectively, or you accept that you're not going to reach the same heights as other people. And I'll say, I do find the amount of farming on some of the Mr. Beast stuff tiresome. And I do agree that they'll make videos that absolutely don't need to be made on, like, basically nothing new. But again, it's very like farm the algorithm harder. I don't know what to say. Do you want sympathy that the algorithm doesn't favor your content and favor somebody else's? Make content that the algorithm will favor then. Or don't, and just keep your like pretentious need to make art out of your videos or whatever.
Creators from the 2020s baby boom reign supreme, often being young men with a pretty deep understanding of current internet culture. These videos are often minimally edited, with video game gameplay serving as the majority of their visuals, with it sometimes switching to footage critical to the narrative, or the creator's avatar or profile picture. Oftentimes, these videos follow a very, very loose script, and in some cases, no script at all, with the creator just kind of recapping someone else's video on the topic at hand, while
I don't like scripts. I'm gonna give a bit of a crazy opinion here, and I know that not everyone will agree with this. I think this applies specifically to streamers and not to people who do specifically YouTube, right? But if you're a streamer, your job is to talk. What the fuck do you need a script for? Unless you're doing something very specific, you're doing a very particular kind of video, your job is to improvise. Your job is to be live. Your job is to just talk. Just talk. Personally, like I've done scripted content as well, and I don't like it. I'll do an outline at most, but this like. The script, like this veneration of having a script is making it better content inherently is insane to me. If you don't have a script and you yap too much or you say something wrong, there's this great thing where you just edit it out. But you don't need a script if you're doing commentary content necessarily. Like, for what? Why do you need it? What does it actually benefit? Other than to just make it more standardized, I suppose. But if somebody doesn't need a script to just go off and have the points and have the evidence or whatever, I don't see why that's a problem. I don't see why we're mad about that.
Giving it sparse personal opinions and commentary. Oftentimes, these personal opinions shared by the creators are the most safe, middle-of-the-road opinions that one could have, as to not piss too many people off. As of the time of writing this, the hot news for the past 2 months has been on Mr. Beast and the many allegations.
That was really shady to have Moist Critical on with that particular point. I'm just going to be honest. I think it's fair. I think some people specifically will fence it so that they don't piss people off. I don't think that means that every person that doesn't have a super strong opinion is inherently like lightly grifting or trying to be a people pleaser, you know? However, I do think it's fair. I do think some people will refuse to have like a strong opinion or have a controversial opinion because it will piss people off. And I'm going to be honest, as a streamer, I think it makes a lot of sense, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, or I don't personally like try to do that. Because as a streamer, you can get a insane amount of harassment on every platform. On YouTube, it's a lot more contained. When you're live streaming and you've said a controversial thing, you will get for it live, and it sucks. If your problem is that you don't like that their opinions, then again, like I you know what is like I think a lot of the things that he says are valid personal opinions that he is absolutely allowed to have, but stating it like a fact that it is bad or wrong is weird to me.
Allegations thrown initially against his crew member and longtime friend Ava Chris Tyson, and later direct allegations of neglect, faking videos, workplace abuse, among many, many other allegations.
Right.
Most of which alleged by YouTuber Dogpack404. Upon all of this news breaking, these drama channels raced to their computers to bang out as many MrBeast cancellation videos as humanly possible.
That they did.
And it absolutely worked. A fantastic example of this drama slot machine in full work is a YouTuber by the name of More Pegasus, which is a second channel to the already immensely successful Pegasus. Not the good Pegasus, that Pegasus. This person—
What's up with the My Little Pony thing? What, Derpy specifically too? We gotta stop. I've had enough.
has uploaded over 13 videos that all roughly have the same thumbnail, title, editing style, and are all just kind of the same thing.
Right.
These videos got insane numbers, so obviously he continued to make more and more of these, and has likely made tens of thousands of dollars from these videos alone. Pegasus.
I want to point something out because I have watched this content creator, okay? And I'm not a huge fan of theirs or anything, but I have watched them. He has not watched any of these videos in full, or it looks like he's not watched them at all unless he's removing them from his watch history. He's not watched any of these videos except for the one where More Pegasus is specifically responding to criticisms of his content, which he also didn't finish. So how do you know that there's not anything new in these videos when it looks pretty clearly? I guess maybe you're watching on another account. I don't know, man. But you have watched, the most you've watched of any of these videos is extremely specifically this one, which is him talking about people hitting on him and the criticisms of the stuff he makes. But you're not watching these videos. You don't actually know what's in them, realistically speaking. If you haven't watched them, you're just assuming. And I will say that the thumbnail thing is stupid and dumb, but More Pegasus also in the video that he actually did watch talks about how he kind of started doing it as a bit because it was funny. He's doing a good job utilizing the algorithm. Sorry if you didn't do that, and he did that better than you, and it makes you upset, but people are still watching the videos.
Kind of the same thing. These videos got insane numbers, so obviously he continued to make more and more of these, and has likely made tens of thousands of dollars from these videos alone. Pegasus claims that he's not milking the situation, rather, he was just covering every new situation as it arose, and that he's just operating as any news station would, making frequent uploads. However, a lot of said updates on the stories were by no means worth making an incredibly long video on a topic that could have been like 5 minutes long, and 5 minutes is
We're saying 17 minutes is incredibly long. This is a 33-minute video. It's really hard to hear a lot of this because it just comes off as insanely bitter. I don't want to seem like I'm trying to defend my content or defend myself or defend other content creators who absolutely could defend themselves. But I also just don't think a lot of the like snideness and judgmental is a good representation of this person's character. He comes off as somebody who's bitter and thinks that he's owed things that other people get and feels mad about it. And I have a hard time not making fun of him for that. Because he does feel some type of way about it. And like, that's fair, I guess. But to completely just trash on other people's content as if it's not worthwhile when you haven't even seemed to watch much of it is pretty interesting to me.
Stretching it in a lot of cases. People have caught on to this guy and have given him a lot of criticism for milking this drama.
Yeah.
But he continued to defend his content and claim that it's not slop, which like, whatever, man. If I were in the same spot and I wasn't so pretentious about the videos I produce, I'd be doing the exact same thing, and I think the majority of the people would in this situation. It's more about just kind of admitting that you're milking something. It's fine, you know, get that bag, it's job, it's money, it's your work. But I will never buy him saying that it's not being milked. However,
I think this is also a fair criticism, except for the fact that it is this person making it. It's okay to milk stuff. I'm sorry. I think it's totally fine. And I do agree. I love that he admitted that he's super pretentious. I agree. But I don't think it's moral or ethical wrong to milk the algorithm if the algorithm is willing to be milked. The cow is full of milk. The udders, they're positively about to burst. Milk them if you can. What? For why not? Life is hard. Money is hard to come by. Jobs suck in real life. Milk the cow. So what is the alternative where you are not judgmental just simply of this kind of content, of this sort of drama commentary content? Are you less judgmental of it if you wait and you put it all into one video? Is it the titles and the thumbnails? Is it like, what is the alternative where this is not something that you're going to judge? Would I personally farm something like that? No, but I also don't have time. I'm a streamer. And realistically, streamers' content is also tend to be sloppier because you have to spend your time streaming. But it's like you could make a documentary. Like there's an example of like Muujin. Muujin is a person who will typically wait until after a situation is over and then release a retrospective of it as a whole, which I think does take higher effort. It is more comprehensive. And does have a place in the YouTube algorithm. His videos do absolutely fantastic. However, I think that there is also space in the overall ecosystem in the YouTube ecosystem to have people that put out information more quickly and share information more quickly. I guess I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think more than anything, the milking is the thumbnails and titles. Maybe it was milked a little bit too hard, but also if you're waiting until there's new information and putting new information in a video, if that's true, because I've not watched all of Morphe's videos either, and I can't make that determination, I don't think that that is that big of a deal. Because Mr. Beast is the biggest content creator on the platform. He's like the most successful YouTuber to ever exist in history, essentially. I think it's kind of big news and people want the updates. I think it's fair that somebody fills that niche just like you're filling the niche of making video essays and being bitter. I don't know.
Pegasus is nowhere near the only person doing this. YouTubers like Turkey Tom, Cheeto, Sensitive Society,
Yeah.
Jamari, WestJet, Oompaville, and many others will take a fresh controversy, make multiple videos, always over 8 minutes long or more, of course so they can make more profit from it, and then make a new video every time there's a new piece of information on the drama, no matter how small this new detail may be. You'd think that
I think to me this is an algorithm problem and not a content problem. I'm gonna be honest. They didn't make it so that the algorithm rewards it, and ultimately the people who make the algorithm reward that is the viewers. But being mad that they make it 8 minutes, you're mad that they make the videos 8 minutes so they can get mid-rolls, as if that's not been some like a annoying criticism since YouTube was monetized. People have bitched about making the video long enough to get mid-rolls. Please, can we please grow past this? Yes, the video is usually going to be 8 minutes. Get the f over it.
people wouldn't really watch this kind of content, since many of these people are just kind of saying this.
Wait, what was that?
You'd think that people wouldn't really watch this kind of content, since many of these people are just kind of saying the same thing as everybody else over and over again. But no, this kind of content is really successful, which is why there's truly so much of it. My best guess as to why it's so popular is that the majority of the audience is on the younger side, leading for their standards for the videos.
Nope, already wrong. You're already incorrect. I'm so sorry. I think for some, in the case of some of these channels, for sure, yeah, maybe. For the most part, commentary content is a much older audience. I don't like it, and I don't think it has value. Therefore, it must be for stupid little kids. This is obviously for children. Commentary content is not for kids. If you think about it for more than 3 seconds without just like wanting to be mad about something, the primary focus of your thought, commentary is not for kids. Commentary content is not for kids. Some kids maybe watch it, older teenagers maybe, but you're saying simultaneously that they're videos that are an hour and a half long, that they're too long, that they're not interesting, that they're boring, and that it's for kids? In Skibbity Toilet era, in the era of like the most brain rot, highly engaging, stimulating content known to man, people are going to sit and watch pyrocynicals sit in front of a camera and talk about not saying unalive for an hour and a half. Children are. Can we please, can we introduce maybe some common sense here? Because that's absurd. That is an absurd statement. It is not for kids because you don't like it.
They consume to be lower. What's clear is that genuine factual information is pretty hard to find in this genre, but oftentimes it's
hard to find on the internet. Genuine factual information is hard to find on the internet. The internet is run by AI and dum-dums on Twitter. It's hard to find anywhere. Not just in commentary content. That is an internet problem as a whole.
Given, since the videos are usually...
Maybe that would be a really good video essay for you to put too much time into and not get views that you're happy with. I don't know.
Just a guy talking about things that he heard someone else say. But what about when the creator presents their viewpoints and opinions as gospel? Enter Moon.
There's no shot we're gonna... There's no shot on this earth that we are going to criticize another content creator for presenting their opinions as factual gospel. We're not going to be that unself-aware. There's no shot.
Video essays are a fantastic example of a genre that's been taken over by slop content. YouTubers like SunnyV2 and his brain-melting editing style have become the meta, and it works, since it appeals to as wide an audience as possible. Many of these bad video essays provide nothing more than the creator's one-sided agenda.
I will say I do find SunnyV2's editing pretty brain-melting. Something about his voice and the that he does at the end of all of his sentences and the way that he edits, I do find rather mesmerizing. But that's his particular style. I don't really think that's like a problem necessarily. Just say that you don't really I don't know. This is so weird. Like the energy of this is so unpleasant.
Misrepresentation of information, zero nuance, and of course, rampant plagiarism. And theft of ideas. A channel on YouTube that does all of this and more is the one and only Moon.
Okay.
Moon is a YouTuber who started uploading video essay documentary style videos at the very beginning of 2021. These
Gonna be clear, not familiar with this content creator. I don't know who they are.
videos were very well produced, entertaining, and provided a somewhat unique viewpoint that we hadn't really seen before. Moon was vehemently anti-TikTok and anti-China. His content, despite being of decent quality, wasn't very nuanced and often just opted to share the bad side of the story, or at
Does Blood think he's being nuanced right now? Gen question. Is that what we think we're doing in this video so far? Maybe the nuance comes in at the end, but everybody only watches the first half of most videos anyway. Is that what you think you're doing, is being highly nuanced and fair?
least only focus on the negative, since that's what makes you the money here on YouTube. Moon's videos started to become more and more biased, with him stating his opinion as fact a lot of the time, while also starting to lean more right politically. Moon started to expand his team quite a lot, which seemed to have pretty frequent turnover, since he was asking for new employees on a near monthly basis. This led to the majority of his videos to be written by different people, and clearly there wasn't too much quality checking or cross-referencing, leading to videos being essentially stolen and then given a Moon skin, while also removing any nuance that the original video possessed.
There was, once upon a time, when they would only close a community if it brought unwanted media scrutiny and bad people.
Thank you for the race up. Thank you, thank you. This is the, I don't know. I'm sure that this person, obviously plagiarism and all of those things are gross, obviously, clearly. However, if we're criticizing people for having no nuance and having an agenda and all of those things, I don't know if this is the video on which to do that if you don't want to look like a hypocrite. If you don't mind looking like a hypocrite, I guess it's fine. But like, it's okay that you just hate reaction and commentary content. I want to be clear. Anybody who hates it, you have every right to. If you don't like that kind of content, you don't have to watch it. Whenever you see it on your timeline, on your recommended, literally just hit do not recommend channel, not interested in this content. And eventually you will be cleansed as long as you don't click those videos. But when you hate the kind of content that you also watch most frequently, that is your fault. You're going to keep getting it. That's how the algorithm works.
To the whole website.
There was actually a time when they would only close a community if it brought unwanted media scrutiny and bad PR to the whole website.
Essentially, the process was, a video hits it big and is garnering a lot of discussion and views. Moon sees this video and gets his writers to essentially make the same video, but change it up a little bit.
Right.
10 days later, he out this Frankenstein's monster video while not crediting or even mentioning the original video that it was inspired by, and then profits. Initially, the plagiarism was very, very clear and direct, with Jack Saint's Wonka video being a fantastic example.
Jesus Christ.
With the title and thumbnails being so incredibly similar.
Thumbnail.
There are many others that you can turn to, but I believe I myself am a victim to this lazy grifter. With one of my biggest and best videos, The Tragedy of Gen Alpha, being a video that makes the overall point that to fully say that the entire generation is doomed because of toilet and stuff like that is bad faith, and kind of harmful to do. Because despite Gen Alpha facing real struggle that does kind of put them in a worse spot than the people before them, we shouldn't be spouting hate towards them, and rather we should be trying to help them. That's a very, very abridged version, and if you're curious, I highly recommend that.
I want to say that obviously plagiarism is wrong. Plagiarism is bad, okay? You shouldn't plagiarize. You shouldn't steal people's words and steal people's ideas. And I'm not saying that this is the case with this specific content creator, because it seems pretty clear that there is a plagiarism aspect to the things that he's doing. However, if you bring up an interesting topic that other content creators want to discuss, that they think it's an interesting idea, you have an interesting theme that they want to expand upon it, or they want to add something different, or they disagree or whatever, I think in a lot of ways it is like an honor to have other people take your new idea that you've brought up, this new conversation that you started, and run with it and make more content about that. I don't think that there's any reason to be bitter about that. Obviously, the stealing aspect in this specific situation is not right. We should not steal. But if other people continue on making content around a particular topic that you brought up into sort of the cultural awareness that people are interested in, I think that's objectively a good thing. You did your job. That's objectively, you've done something good. You've brought up a conversation that other people want to have, as long as they are not just, respouting your ideas. I think that's objectively good.
You watch the original video. But the point is, I brought up a viewpoint that hadn't really been expressed yet, and, did really well for it. So you know what Moon did? 2 weeks after my video released, Moon drops The Dark Reality of Generation Alpha, where Moon talks about Gen Alpha and makes very, very similar points in a very, very similar order as to what I did. And because nuance is a foreign concept on the Moon channel, he completely removed any of the positivity and hope that my video had, while still including some of my talking points that were leading to the positivity and hope. Moon has over 4 full-length videos talking about Gen Alpha, but they're all basically the exact same thing, whining about how kids are doomed and all of the bad evils in the world that are making them doomed, while not providing anything new to the conversation and just spreading fear. He gives no solutions, doesn't try to help. There's truly nothing other than negativity, which is one of the main points against this man. He fearmongers like no one else. only provides one side of the argument, and despite all of that, he treats his word as gospel, literally referring to himself in terms of the Matrix. He has all of this pseudo-intellectualism, and he doesn't even pronounce the words from 1984 correctly.
Oceania.
And Oceania.
Oceania has... Oceania?
Oceania. Oceania. Not Oceania. I don't know how you can miss this. Are you deaf as well as stupid?
Like, come on, if you're gonna say everything in the modern world is literally
Okay.
1984, maybe read the goddamn book and do more than just reference the movie. Moon is
Okay. All right. Okay. Ooh, okay. I think all of the criticism of this particular channel is absolutely valid and fair. The criticism of fear-mongering, of removing nuance, of making videos that are not new, that are not interesting, that they're not adding to the conversation. I think all of that is fair. However, we're gonna minor spelling mistake wajaja as part of our criticism of someone. Can we just be honest that that's like the most pretentious I've ever heard? That is not real criticism. You're just being like, it's just petty, spiteful at that point.
also a massive hypocrite, complaining about how short attention span editing and content is making people dumber and less independent thinkers, while his editing is super overdone, fast-paced, flashy, and his content doesn't encourage independent thought at all, since he represents everything that isn't his argument as false. Moon is truly one of the worst.
You've also presented all of your arguments as being factual, or all of your opinions, really. And that doesn't negate that he does that, but you should have the self-awareness to understand when you are criticizing somebody for something they do. I feel like this person obviously has like kind of a crappy channel, and that's totally fair. However, the amount of like bitterness and kind of spitefulness and it comes across as jealousy makes it difficult to hear, because it seems like you would not be talking about this if it didn't affect you and your channel personally. Just like you wouldn't have brought up Pyrocynical if Pyrocynical did not talk about your content specifically. And it just comes across like you're mad. And it also comes across as very hypocritical to say that, oh, this person says that everything that they say is fact and there's no nuance. And it's like, you've done that for most of this video. So it's hard to take in your criticism when you're doing something similar. It's just easier to do because ultimately a lot of people agree with you on this opinion that YouTube Slop is bad.
Worst video essay Slop channels, but for some reason, he dodges a lot of criticism, with the prior mentioned Sunny V2 receiving most of the hate. They both suck, but Moon sucks so much worse. However, the main thing to learn from Moon is that you truly do not need to have good, insightful content to capture the masses. You need to rile them up emotionally and leave them drooling at the mouth with super visually stimulating editing. If you make people scared, they're more likely to stick around, and if you make people angry, they're more likely to stick around as well. And if you get a bunch of scared and angry people and then represent yourself as some sort of modern day philosopher, that's the perfect concoction for making disgusting amounts of money on this platform. If you couldn't tell,
I think that this is like a Moon thing, though, it seems like. I don't think this seems like a general like YouTube problem that a lot of people are participating in. I feel like there's just a lot of conflating things as being equal or the same when they're just kind of not. And I think that all of the criticism against Moon is fair. I also think a lot of criticism for Sunny V2 is very fair. His videos are slop. So it's like effort is important, but not if it's effort that is too edited. Scripts are important, but not if they're like not nuanced and not like, basically what it's giving is commentary content is bad unless it's like mine. Cause it like, what is it that is like good commentary to you? Because you'll acknowledge that some is higher quality than others, like Mudahar and Moist Critical, but you still think that they're like and you don't really respect them, even if you will take attention from them from like watching a video of yours. Does that make sense? You're not being constructive or fair or any of those things. You're being judgmental and angry, and like that's fair. You can dislike the content, but don't present yourself as somebody who's fair and nuanced and thoughtful if that's not what you're doing in this video either.
I don't like this clown, and I want to make a full-length video on him, going into all of his manipulation tactics, hypocrisy, and of course, plagiarism. If you want to see that video, let me know in the comments, and like this video while you're at it, since I need to make sure people actually really want to see this before I risk my own standing as a creator to make it. Regardless, it should be clear to you now that Slop takes up a lot of different forms here on YouTube.
Yeah.
But unlike Moon, I don't want this to just be my perspective. So I reached out to some drama commentary YouTubers to see what they think about the Slop allegations. But before we get into that, there's
what is with the derpy, bro? What is this? Why are we doing this? It's enough.
one more piece of slop that I really just want to mention. Another form of this slop content that I've seen a lot is cartoon channels that make these AI-generated kind of recaps of episodes and things that happen in them, and they always use the same type of thumbnail. That being this incredibly bland white background with a character and then some text next to it. I'm so incredibly sick of this, and I see it everywhere. And the worst part is that it works. These videos have a ton of views, and that pains me. It's painful to see this, honestly. And
I think this is fair to shit on unequivocally. I think that this is absolutely fair to shit on unequivocally because it is absolute dog. And unfortunately, it does get views. To some extent, it probably is possibly botted. I don't know. It is actual no effort slop dog. Legitimately. I think that this is fair, but you're comparing this and putting this kind of in the same video as people who do put effort into their content, just not the same kind or amount of effort as you, which is weird.
I'm personally someone who is very subject to injury, unfortunately. Which is why I'm actually very happy to have partnered with Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Here's the thing. So I'm here with the one and only Sensitive Society to get his opinion on everything that's being talked about.
Hi, thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
What is it like to make drama commentary? What is the creative process and the research and all those sort of things?
Like, even that question is just dripping with condescension. What's the creative process, the research, all of those things? Like, it's very clear, even in the way that he's asking the question, that he doesn't think it's creative. He doesn't think that there's research. He doesn't think that there's effort. And maybe, again, that's because I have, like, the hindsight bias of looking back and, like, knowing what the rest of the video was before this interview. But, like, you don't respect these content creators. And that's, like, fine. But, like, maybe just make better content. Make content that people want to watch. I'm sorry that your derpy video didn't do well. It seems like you're really, really upset about that. I'm sorry. That seems like it really, really with you. And then you had to make this video because that derpy video meant a lot to you. And sometimes that happens when you're a content creator. Sometimes when you're a content creator, you make a video and it doesn't do well. And it can be a video that you put your whole ussy into and you loved it and you cared for it and it doesn't do well. That's part of being a content creator. It is not this person's fault or any commentary content creator's fault. Unfortunately, you did not make something that people wanted to watch. The algorithm is not difficult to understand. And sometimes you don't know if people want to watch something until after you make it.
Truth be told, to get a little backstory, the reason why I have a channel in the first place is because I really like the idea of just a random guy saying whatever's on his mind. I'm just an everyday guy who sees something and he's interested in the topic, whatever it is, whether it's something serious or goofy like we're seeing with KSI and Lunchley and everyone treating it like it's World War III, and I think it's hilarious. It's not that serious.
No, it really ain't that deep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm wondering also, what is the research process like for these videos?
Whatever situation's going down, I whether I see it on Twitter, Reddit, whatever, then I start looking into where it's coming from and trying to make sure I have the story as accurate as possible. If it's something on Twitter, I just don't read the headline and I grab my microphone and get to it.
Right.
I try to look into it, look for other tweets, similar tweets, and then, Google that and then see if there's articles written about it. Just trying to cover everything, and there's always two sides to a story.
How do you feel about the slop label? Does it hurt your feelings, or are you just kind of like, it's a job, or I don't know, what's your input?
Really doesn't hurt my feelings, to be honest. I do think, I don't want to sound like the nerd emoji here, and be like, technically, guys, but I do think there's definitely some channels out there that are like the definition of flop, and I know that's rage coming from me, but I think there's a difference, and between, I guess, channels like Pyro or me or Critical or whoever else, and then there's like an other subgenre of channels that is no different than the brain rot channels that they talk about.
I think that this is, I guess, maybe a bit of nuance that is missing from this video, right? The label of slop is essentially given to any commentary channel. It's given to any reaction channel. And I do think it's fair for reaction. I think that my content is slop content. I don't have a problem with that because I think slop is morally neutral as long as you are doing it well and you're trying to be constructive and add something, right? But I think it is fair to say that there's levels to that. To put Moist Critical and something like AI generated Family Guy recaps in the same video as being slop is kind of wild, and it is very reductive, and it also is like, I don't like the energy of a creator invalidating another creator's work. It gives me the ick when somebody puts down another people's content and raises their own on a pedestal, because it just comes off as bitter. There's no way to do that that's not sort of bitter. Then there's no reason to do that because it's not constructive. You're not making your content better by not being more critical of why you don't get as many views, right? And it changes nothing about somebody else's success or lack of it. It's just it. I don't like invalidating other people's content unless it is legitimately like dog shit, right? Because there's obviously like the AI slop where it's AI recaps of Family Guy. Yeah, obviously, I want to shit on that. Somebody who does like XQC reacts where he walks the fuck out of the room halfway through and doesn't come back for 15 minutes. Fuck you. Sniper Wolf, who will react to TikToks with canned reactions where they give her a script of what reaction to do and what to say and then put the TikToks in post. That's dog shit. There is dog shit. But other people do make good react content and do make good commentary content. Not all slop is the same. And not all slop is like inherently worthless. Just focus on your own is kind of the thing. It just gives like jealous and bitter. I can't stand it.
How much time does it generally take to make a sensitive society video?
So nowadays, because they're longer and I don't upload every day, I have it takes a little longer from start to finish, probably like 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's once I have the topic locked down because I'm usually.
Can we say that the voice crack on, okay. I will say personally, 2 to 3 hours is kind of crazy. Mostly just because the thought of being able to speak that effectively and then edit it that quickly is kind of wild. Can we acknowledge that there is a legitimate value and benefit in being watched and enjoyed without needing skibbity on the screen all the time? Can we acknowledge that that is obviously a testament to a creator, that they can sit there and not have anything super visually stimulating on the screen and still get views and still get watched? Because one of the biggest things that I remember reading when I was early on into trying to make my own YouTube videos and stuff, I don't edit mine anymore, but I used to, right? Because I'm a streamer. It takes too much time. But I remember one of the earlier things that I learned is like, if you feel the need to edit every 2 seconds to make your video interesting, the problem is you. You're trying to cover up for your insecurity in your own shit. Be better. Make a better base video and you don't have to edit it so much. There is a legitimate testament to somebody's skill or entertainment value or whatever in their content when they can sit and be relatively boring and people will still watch and listen because they like what they have to say. And painting it all as being absolutely worthless content is weird as to me.
Looking for a hot minute.
Yeah, no,
so
that's
once I have
fair.
a topic locked down, then from start to finish, it probably like, between 2 to 3 hours.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I think that's all my questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, appreciate you, dude.
So, I now have the pleasure to talk to the one and only Achido. Welcome.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. What is the creative process for kind of putting together one of your videos, and what's kind of the timeline of the creation of it?
Yeah, so what I used to do, and I try not to do this anymore, is I'll try to balance something that I am interested in talking about with something that people are interested in hearing about, whereas maybe, 2 years ago, it was more so just like, all right, what do people want to hear about? And I'll just make the video knowing that even if I don't really care about what I'm saying or what I'm talking about, that at least some people will.
Right.
And now I try to balance something that I find interesting and could talk about extemporaneously with something that I think people will genuinely be interested in, right? Because I could talk for hours about like YouTube itself, like the internal workings of it, because that's something that I'm super interested in, but no one wants to hear that, right? They're more interested in like, did Dream poop today or something like that, right? Like whatever the flavor of the day drama slop is, right? But at the same time, right, I don't really want to talk about the dream pooping stuff anymore. I want to talk.
What is dream poop? Am I supposed to know what that means? I think that's fair. I think there are a couple of different versions of what he is calling a drama commentary slop, essentially. Is I think that there are some people who are more so news sources. And I've been called that occasionally, and I don't like being called a news source. I don't want to be a news source. And there are some people who are like news sources, and they are coming to tell you the information essentially and have a little bit of opinion here and there because that's human, but that's not the point of the content is your opinion or your personal commentary on it. So it's more so like newsy and less so specifically commentary or reaction. And then there's sort of a secondary version, which is more so like, I'm sort of going to give you the basic rundown of what occurred. And then what I'm going to do is tell you what I think about it. And that is the bulk of the video. And that is why people watch it. And I think differentiating between those things is helpful because it helps with that whole nuance thing that apparently we value very much. But I think it is a good thing to be willing to be unwilling to talk about literally everything all the time, especially if you're somebody who gives opinions. Because I'll say my personal experience with this was in Gotcha, because people would come in and be like, what do you think about this really, really deep issue on Reddit that only exists in China? You need to speak on this now, bitch! You need to speak on this now, streamer, because you're at Gotcha! And it was like, I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't want to talk about that. I have no desire to speak on that issue, and I don't have an opinion on it literally at all because I don't care. And I don't even fully understand the issue. And people would get like angry at me because they're like, well, you have to talk about it. Like your opinion is needed. And it's like, it's literally very much not. And I don't want to give it either. So I'm not gonna, but it was such an odd, that's why like I really try to steer away from like newsiness because I don't like that interaction of being told that I need to speak on something.
About like, you know, stuff I actually find interesting.
Right.
And just finding that balance, you know? So that's sort of like my creative process, right?
So you've incentivized more so what you actually want to put out rather than just only what audiences want to see, essentially.
Yeah.
I also want to ask, too, how do you feel about the label of slop that is often thrown around? Do you feel it's an accurate descriptor, or do you think it kind of, you know, isn't exactly that?
Well, when people say it, I think a lot of people don't, like, they don't mean it to be rude or anything.
Yeah.
And so I never take it as, like, personal. Like, I never care if someone's like, oh, that's slop. Like, who gives a fuck, right? Do I think it's accurate? I think it depends, because I think every channel is different. But, you know, overall, like, there are things that I think that there's a list with boxes that you check, and the more boxes you check, the more, I guess, slop you can be considered. I think as time's passed, I've unchecked some of those boxes. Like, I've sort of made the goal to shift away from gameplay, which I think a lot of people use because it's easy.
It is.
They can like basically maximize the time between when the headline drops and when their video comes out by using gameplay.
Yeah.
And I've tried to basically not have that pressure of like, I have to be the first to a topic. Like I can sort of talk about things that are older or newer, depending if I want to. So I like try to do face cam and stuff now. But I mean, overall, am I like still a slop channel? Do I still talk about things that are menial and, you know, useless? And are my videos like essays that are well edited and well thought out? I don't have a script, you know, a lot of it's just off the dome. So yeah, I guess it's fairly accurate. I'd say it's like 70% accurate for my channel.
Gotcha.
Then obviously for some it's like 80-90%. For some it's like 50-40%. But yeah, I mean, I don't care. Like, I don't get offended by it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's not out here hurting.
Does this not come across as somebody who just really, really, really does not like these particular content creators? Why do we need to, like, why are we shading? Like, well, you just really hate Pyrocynical, man. And that's like fine if you feel like he did not do a respectful react to your content or he doesn't do good reactions. But like, god damn, dude, you just sound so bitter. Pyrocynical, yes, he does have a channel that is like primarily slop because it's easier to put out. So obviously there's more of it. Pyrocynical also has really good video essays that are legitimately entertaining and well done. If you can't do both, that's fine. If you want to focus on one, that's fine. He does both, and I think that's also fine. Also, Pyrocynical has been doing YouTube for a gazillion years. Has it been like 10 years at this point? He's been on YouTube for 10 years. He's doing well. He's also made many, as you said, many pivots to his content because he follows the algorithm to a certain extent or his interests change. You don't do that, and that's okay. But like at the same time, like, can we please? Can you get past your bitterness to see why other people are sick? Because like, it's so easy to be bitter and just blame the system or other people or any of those things for why you don't do well. You know what's really, really hard is accepting the flaws in your and accepting the reasons why you don't have the same level of success. I mean, if we're complaining that these videos didn't do well, I don't know what to say. Yoda Saves Christmas, a 10-minute video. When did he actually start trying to make legitimate content? It took a while. Realistically, it seems like he started trying to legitimately make content about, what, 3-4 years ago? From what I'm seeing, God, these thumbnails are really hard to look at. It's taken time, right? And you've gotten better over time, and your derpy video didn't do as well as some of your others. And that's okay. You also post like, what, twice a month-ish, maybe, sometimes? You post very irregularly, which is not good for the algorithm, and everyone knows that. You post kind of random shit, I'm gonna be honest, like random topics, and that's fine. And like that, but that's like, you're making shit that is not as good for the algorithm. The algorithm is just what people watch. If you're like, all of this bitterness, maybe just like focus on what you could do better or do more of. I don't know, man. This is so like, I can't stand people who won't take accountability and just look at themselves.
Your feelings and stuff like that.
Not one bit. No, I don't give a
Good.
Because
I
people
think
still like it. I mean, like I think the best comparison I've ever heard, and I don't know who made this, but It's well, this was actually said about like React content, like Asmongold sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it still sort of applies to like commentary and whatever, is that it's sort of fast food content,
Yes.
you know? And there's a market for that. Like in the restaurant world, in the world of cuisine, there are places you'll go to on a nice night to get dressed up for your anniversary for, like Michelin food. And then there's 3 a.m. food when you're stoned that you can get on DoorDash.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, they all serve a purpose. It's hard to compare one to another because they serve different purposes.
Yeah.
And the best way that I can put this is like, there's certain YouTube videos that you're doing a disservice to by watching them on your phone. Like you should be watching them on your television.
Yeah.
My videos are not like that at all. They're meant to be watched when you're like on the bus ride home from school on your phone and there's an argument in the background, but you use headphones to drown it out, right? Like it's not high quality, you know, and I don't care, but it's.
So the thing is like, I think that this is kind of the thing, right? Is there is an ecosystem of different kind of content for different kind of things. There's a really heavy emphasis just on content in general because it's what people like and what people watch. There is a really heavy emphasis on this concept of second screen content, right? Which is content that really doesn't rely on heavy editing. It doesn't rely on being really stimulating and being very like high effort. It is content that is meant to be watched on a second screen, that is interesting to listen to, but you don't need to specifically watch it closely in order to understand what is going on. There is a huge amount of emphasis on that, but not because of the algorithm or because people are lazy or because it's content and it's just like so easy to do. It's because that's what people want to watch. That's what people want to have. Because people want to be, I mean, in my particular interest, right? Oh, I get home from work and I listen to your videos, or I listen to your videos while I'm in the office. Oh, thank you for posting a long video. I can have it as my background while I work. And I'm okay with that because that means you're listening to what I say. And that's what's important about what I do. That's what's important about what I do is what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, who I am, my perspective. And so I'm okay that it's second screen content and that it's a little bit of fast food, right? And it's not like I need to watch a masterpiece. I don't want to be a filmmaker. That's fine for me. Not everybody wants to make this like high effort, artistic sort of like pretentious content. Some people are okay with making slop. There's this thing that is in a lot of videos that are like this because I've been watching these for a while where it's like this implicit sort of assumption that people only make the slop style of content because it's easy and it gets views. And yeah, to a certain extent, it is relatively easier than video essay style videos, right? It is easier. And it does get decent views, you know? Some people get really, really good views. My views are not that good, but I'm also small and still figuring it out, right? And I'm okay with that. But like, people don't understand the fact that like, it is like fun to make. It's enjoyable. Not everybody does it purely to do the slot machine. I legitimately like this content. I've tried more high effort kinds of content. I also think that it is okay for different people to make different kind of content and have different goals and desires for the content that they make. People like this kind of content because they watch it. The algorithm is not some mystical thing, this like algebra equation that nobody can figure out. The algorithm is what people want to watch. It is easy to have something on in the background while you clean your house. I originally, like, I'll watch a video in the shower because I can't stand to not have any stimulation while I'm in the shower. I cannot hear myself think I will die. So I put on a video while I'm showering. I put on a video when I'm making my breakfast. I put on a video to drown out the terrible, terrible static, the TV static that goes on in my head if there's not something playing in the background. And I am okay if I am that for you because that's valuable too. It's just different. But not everybody wants to be like this high effort artist. People just want to make content that they like.
It's like, I certainly wouldn't get offended by it. You know, I know what my role is in the YouTube ecosystem, and I think other people should as well, you know?
Fair.
That's interesting. I like that you know your niche, right? That's
You know your shit, right? You know that you're not good content. You know your niche.
That's a
Your
good
tone
perspective to have. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I think that's all my questions. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
One of the main things that inspired me to make this video in the first place was the treatment of the recently discovered predator, Smart Schoolboy 9. For those who aren't aware, there was a Reddit thread discussing an odd ring of Instagram accounts that all seem to be owned by the same man. These accounts posted really odd imagery of seemingly AI-generated children in some oddly compromising positions.
Yeah.
Most of the posts had this incredibly weird and creepy style, which led people to believe that it was some sort of internet horror ARG. But unfortunately, this is not the case. This individual was soon found, with his actions and posts clearly being that of his fetish, including lots of schoolboy imagery alongside go-go boots of all things.
I hated this shit. I actually wouldn't watch most of the content around this. I watched about half of a Mudahar video about it and couldn't keep watching. It's so foul. Just want to say that. I hated this. This shit is so gross.
Man's actions became more and more disturbing as people learned that he's actually tried to reach out to children and spends time around playgrounds. There's much more to this story, but that's just kind of the main parts of it. No one would really know about this if not for YouTuber Nick Crowley's video on the matter, which did incredibly well. Usually when someone in this internet horror niche does really well, others within the niche will try to make videos on the same topic.
No shot.
But this time, Nick's video breached the niche, and the story was picked up by more and more people, and eventually the commentary community got a hold of it and started making videos on the topic. Now before I continue, I just want to make my point clear, since this is going to be following my opinion. When it comes to a predator like Smart Schoolboy 9, I don't think it's particularly a good idea for people to talk about him so willy-nilly, like he's just some other piece of internet drama. To me, this kind of normalizes the topic and makes it far less serious. Something that tends to happen a lot when an internet celebrity gets exposed for doing horrible things regarding children is an influx of memes that are made making fun of these people. One of the biggest examples being EDP445, a YouTuber who was trying to meet up with a young fan who in reality was predator hunters in disguise. When busted, EDP claimed that he was coming to pick up—
I'm sorry, are we now mad about meme culture? Is that commentary channel's fault? I don't even understand where we're going with this. Okay, go on. What are we mad at?
a cupcake that the girl offered. Given the hilarity of this statement, EDP and his actions became a meme, with picking up a cupcake kind of becoming slang for trying to meet with minors. From there, he was made fun of throughout the entire internet, with him still being referenced to this day. Similar things have happened recently with creators like Dr. Disrespect and Ava Chris Tyson. There were so many memes making fun of these people and their actions, which felt more fitting because a lot of these people are already internet celebrities and will actually see the memes that are making fun of them. However, it's a very different scenario to the Smart Schoolboy 9 thing. It's undeniable that his appearance is strange and unique, and to some maybe comedic, and to others maybe very off-putting. I also can't deny that some of the things that he's said and done can be kind of funny, because of the absurdity of it all. But that doesn't mean it's okay to make light of it, in my opinion. I really feel as though we should take things like this seriously, because not doing that ultimately feels dangerous. However—
And this is commentary channel's fault in what way? I can see if you're saying that Smart Schoolboy 9 was like sensationalized because he obviously there was a lot of like really up that ended up happening around that story for sure. All right, what are we talking about? Memes? What is this bit of commentary? Like what the fuck are we talking about?
However, if you couldn't tell, by means of so many people talking about this individual, so many memes have been made regarding this man. People have made videos of him in Minecraft. People have made videos of him kidnapping kids in Roblox. And hell, people are cosplaying this guy. This spreads him and his image further and further until now he's become almost just another piece of internet brain rot. It's especially bad when it's someone who preys on children, because now we've seen children go out of their way to hunt this man down and find him, which I don't think I even need to try to explain why that's a bad thing. As I write this, Smart Schoolboy 9's image has spread more and more, and the genuine sins of his actions have become watered down and made into a joke, with tons of YouTubers who never covered this sort of thing making a bunch of videos on him, since they do well. Another example of this that's not fully related to YouTube Slop.
Okay, that's not commentary channel's fault, and it's also like, you have to understand that like the internet has changed and the way that jokes are done is changed. It used to be like, there used to be a concept of it's too soon. That doesn't exist anymore. Then the world is so gross and horrible, and there's so much horrible like Smart Schoolboy 9 out there. It has become, I think, sort of a internet-wide coping mechanism to just turn everything into a meme because it just makes life feel less. It can be seen as taking away from the seriousness to joke about something like that. And simultaneously, I guess in defense of jokes and in defense of memes, what the else are you supposed to do when there's so many stories about these kind of things? All of the things that he mentioned here happened in the span of like 6 months. What the else are you supposed to do other than joke about it at that point? How else do you process how disgusting people can be, how foul people can be? And again, that's not commentary channel's fault for covering it. That's not the, like, whose fault is that? The world? The internet? Meme culture? That has nothing to do with this.
Is the insane amounts of jokes coming from young children regarding Diddy parties. Like, the fact that such an evil and horrifying person has become within the same ranks as John Pork and Kai Cenat is disturbing to me on a deep level.
But it's not. Phantom Tax and the Diddy party. Like, Diddy is like a horror story, the way that kids like tell jokes about that. It's not the same as Kaisenat. And do you not, like, I don't understand this criticism at all, or how it's even relevant to this topic.
I don't know why no one else is talking about it. Anyway, that's its own side tangent, and I won't waste your time with that. My point is, this weird trend of making videos on Smart Schoolboy 9 hasn't really led to anything other than mass awareness, which can definitely be argued as a good thing. However, we're still giving this horrible man tons of attention, which, judging by his post history, is part of what gets him off. So it's really, really disturbing and just feels overall off. This is not, and absolutely.
Okay, well, you're putting it in here. It's not a weird trend. It's a current topic that people are interested in. If they handle it poorly, I think that is very fair to criticize, right? If somebody's handling it in a way that is not respectful, is not acknowledging of how serious it is, I think that's fair to criticize. To talk about it at all, to raise awareness about it at all, is not inherently bad. But just the concept that anybody talking about it is like weird and has like bad intentions or something is like, I don't know, it's just in bad faith to me.
Absolutely will not be the last time.
Also, yeah, you didn't have to make this point. This was a completely irrelevant point that you did not have to include in here, but you did. Don't pretend like having Smart Schoolboy 9 in the description does not also make this more algorithmically viable. There was no reason to include this. But when you put this as one of the timestamps, which is part of your description, which is part of how your video is put into the algorithm, when you do that, it does also put it more into the algorithm. So you are additionally, in many ways, putting in this completely irrelevant tangent, and it does benefit your algorithm to have Smart Schoolboy 9 in your description for those timestamps. So can we simmer down on your high horse like this was in any way necessary? You're not different because you do it differently.
That repulsive individuals get a bunch of attention for the monetary gain of others. Ultimately, Slop is incredibly easy to produce, and you don't need to be creative. You don't need to say anything new, you don't need a personality, and you don't even need a script. But at the end of the day,
you don't even need a script because the genuine overall marker of a good piece of content is the scripting. You realize that AI can do that job, right? You realize I could go on Gemini AI and say, write a script of X amount of words about YouTube slop with this overall concept, and I could read that. So congrats. I mean, like this like veneration of a script, like that's not something literally a robot can do now, and do it relatively. Like, we'll be honest, AI has gotten very good. Like with a bit of proofreading, if you tweak it, if you revise it a bit, could absolutely make a perfectly good video on this topic. There are valid points that he brought up, but when most of this is him just being kind of mad, it negates everything interesting that could have been said here.
You really can't blame the individual creators. They are getting the bag, they're doing what works, and it doesn't really matter what I think about it. People are watching, and they want to see this content. Like, as long as your title says something along the lines of, the insert controversial figure situation is insert interesting adjective, and your thumbnail has the topic's face, slightly edited to look worse with a bright background and crazy drop shadows, and maybe even a black bar around their eyes with some text on it, you're set to go. It really honestly makes me kind of sad that this is all it takes anymore. YouTube's success used to be a very, very difficult thing to achieve.
No, it wasn't. I mean, if we're going back in like olden YouTube days, those videos don't hold up over time. Also, what I want to say is the beautiful thing about this is that if it is really dog shit that nobody wants to watch, right? That it's not good and it has no value, and it is too oversaturated. The thing about it is that naturally the algorithm and people will move on. That's kind of the natural thing of that. If it is too oversaturated and too many people are doing the same dog sort of worthless content that you don't like, and people are watching it for now, the beautiful thing is that eventually people will get bored of it and move on. So you just have to wait. But it's not going to change anything for you if that particular meta of the algorithm changes, if you are not bothering to make content that people want to watch. And again, we're bringing up the brony, which you seem very hurt that video did not get views, and I don't really understand why. Very weird to me. But like, let's not pretend that getting famous on the internet has always been this like massive, huge thing that was super difficult. A lot of what made previous like old internet people famous is that they just kept making stuff. They just kept making more content all the time. They just made stuff for years and years and years. And like, they were some of the pioneers of the making stuff, you know, on YouTube thing. But pretending that like it used to be so difficult and now it's so easy. No, what you're saying is that it's oversaturated, which inherently makes it infinitely more difficult to pop off. It makes it inherently, infinitely more difficult to actually create something. You're also saying this when you're talking about creators that realistically, some of these creators have been around for a decade, more than a decade. Most of these creators that you have brought up have been around for a very fucking long time. So it's not like they started out and like popped off doing dog slop content. They came up and now they have the privilege of being able to do that slop content and continue to get views because they've worked hard for a really long time. Like, you got to stop invalidating other people's content as part of criticism and venerating your own. It's so cringy to me. It reads so nasty and unpleasant.
And granted, it still absolutely is, but this meta is effective like nothing else. However, unlike the fidget spinner Among Us 3 AM slop of the late 2010s, this content just feels kind of cynical. So much of this drama is just toxic and unnecessary, with small things getting blown out of proportion for the sake of content and, well, money. You might watch this and think that I'm jealous. And yeah, I absolutely am.
I'm glad you admitted it. That's pretty slay of you. The hypocrisy part, because the thing about being jealous is a lot of times it does make you a hypocrite when you're bitter like that. I'm glad that you admitted it, though. I think that's good. I don't really care that this content is made, and I'm glad that he got a lot of views from it. He's gotten like 300,000 views, I think, on here. That's great, as it's a good video for him. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, you just seem like, it's so pretentious. It's so deeply pretentious. And I really don't like content creators who invalidate other content and then won't look at their own critically. Why did nobody want to watch your Derpy video? I don't know. Who gives a fuck about My Little Pony, the extremely niche character that only the like heavy brony community cared about? Yeah, no, people don't care. People don't really care about My Little Pony. It's kind of been dead for a while. There's a whole new series that's come out at this point. And Derpy, like that whole story was an incredibly niche part of even the brony community. And it's not that hard to understand why somebody probably didn't click on that video. I'm sorry about that. It sucks because maybe you cared a lot about it and you had a lot of fun making it, but that doesn't mean that people want to watch it. And that's not commentary channel's fault.
Here, check this out. This is what a timeline looks like in an average Raymundo 2112 video, and by proxy, like an average, high quality video essay. This layer here is sound, and the top one is imagery. This is what the average drama commentary video looks like. I need to look at this and remove myself from the equation since I will absolutely be biased, but goddamn, the discrepancy is crazy. I know.
So put in less effort. If you don't have to put in all that effort and people can still do well, maybe you don't need to put in all that effort. Maybe you're over editing your videos and you don't need to do all that. Seems like you're not being very efficient with your time and your effort. But like, effort does not equal views, but effort does not also equal quality either. Just because you put a lot of effort into something doesn't mean it's good. I have videos that I spent like 72 hours straight making, like literally ripping up my, like physically just destroying myself, treating myself like not sleeping, trying to make high effort, highly edited content. And that did not make it good. And it did not make it good enough. And it did not mean that it deserved or that I was owed views. Just because I put a lot of effort into those videos, my content now is infinitely better in every way, shape, or form. And so like equating time and effort to quality and being good for the algorithm or whatever is just, it's so weird to me. And then being mad, like, it just seems like you're entitled, you feel like you're entitled to views because you tried really hard. Well, I tried really hard on a lot of my poems when I was in the 6th grade, but I didn't get published anywhere, so. The system's against me, I think. I think that the publications that were for adults, for adult writing, probably just had it out for me because I was sick in the 6th grade. It was very unfair. I was owed those publications. Like, come on now, please. Can we please? A
lot of these communities will likely see this, so feel free to make the obligatory Raymundo 2112 situation is crazy video. I'll be waiting. Now, of course, the question that must be asked is, how do we fix this? Is there any chance that Slop will no longer be profitable and then we can see a return to more high quality content? Well, unfortunately, it's not really a simple situation. However, I can offer you some solutions. If there's some spicy drama that you're interested in going on the internet, I suggest you do your own research and learn the information from the source. For example, with the Mr. Beast drama, most of these Slop videos are made covering Dogpack's video. So basically, you're provided with two options. You can either watch 3 separate commentary videos about Dogpack's video that basically just recount what he said, or you could go directly to the source and learn about it yourself. You absolutely do not need your food to be chewed for you.
There's this really funny thing that I don't think that bro understands about all of this, which is people will watch the Dogpack video and then also additionally watch the commentary videos. They watch both. It's not like those Dogpack videos didn't get a fuckload of views. One of those had like 12 million views. They'll watch both because they want what happened, and then they also like to hear people's commentary. People want to hear their opinion. When I was in Gacha, I know for a fact that people would watch my commentary video, Tekton's commentary video, Gacha's Max commentary video, Poki's commentary video, all on the same thing because they wanted to hear the different perspectives on the topic. People like that. people like to have that variety. So that's like a big misunderstanding about the content. It's not that they don't watch the original, like the big, you know, the person who brought it to light. They'll a lot of times watch that and a bunch of other commentary videos to see what other people think about it or see, you know, whatever is made. You don't get the content, and that's totally fine. You don't like the content, that's totally fine. But that doesn't mean that other people like have the same feeling about it for you as you.
Just make that clear. None of us do. You can go and just directly find the information that you so crave.
Yeah.
These people rarely, if ever, break news, so it's not like you're gonna find some new information by watching them. If enough people just
It's about the perspective, which is kind of the point of your content, so it's weird that you don't understand that.
decide to not watch this kind of content anymore, these creators will know and will have to shift their content style to better fit what the masses want. I think we should take back our independence.
Have you considered that you should know and better fit the content style that the masses want? Because the masses do want this content, and that's why it does well. You are also beholden to the algorithm, to the audience. Have you considered that you could also do that? You just want people, you want what this is that you want the algorithm and the audience to bend to what you make so you can make what you want to make and get the same amount of views as to what people are making that already just fits the algorithm. The algorithm is not going to work for you. The algorithm is not going to bend to you. The audience is not going to want to watch something if they don't want to watch it. That's not how that works. You can also change your content to fit the algorithm better, or you can be okay with the fact that you get less views for the content that you make. You get plenty of views, by the way. He's very successful. Like, it's not like this is some like pissant guy like me. Like, I'm a little guy. I'm a little guy, and I'm okay with that because I'm still figuring my shit out. That's cool. I'm not mad because somebody did a react that I think is like has less entertainment value and did better than me if they've been doing it for years longer than me and have more of a system and have more of a base audience. That's fine. But like you're getting mad at the audience for not giving you views. You have to make things that people want to watch. That's your job.
And not have our opinions told to us by someone who's literally just some guy with a microphone and some background gameplay.
That's all
Take back
anything
your
is.
ability to learn about current events and form your own opinion on them. If there's a YouTuber making glorified multiple hour-long reaction videos on some topic, just find the video that they're reacting to and just watch that. You'll save a lot.
But I don't want to watch just the original reaction video. I want to hear Pyrocynical's version of it because I like Pyrocynical. You know, I don't really watch Pyro anymore. I just like his older content. I don't watch a ton of content, right? I watch content, but I don't watch a lot of Pyro. But like the reason that I would watch a video of commentary rather than just watching the original video is because I want to hear their opinion. Because I like that person and I respect their opinion and I want to hear what they had to say about it. I don't want to just watch the original video, or maybe I do and then also hear somebody else's opinion on top of that. Like, it's just insane that you just like, how do you not understand that the point is the perspective when that's what you want people to like from you? If you make video essays, that's ultimately what you want. This is absurd.
A lot of time, and all it takes is just the tiniest little amount of effort. With that said, there's not too much we can really do.
I was going to say something rude about the black painted fingernails, but I won't.
But if you're all as sick of slop as I am, I highly suggest just not watching or supporting it. Support small, hardworking YouTubers, since we need all the support that we
Watch small, hardworking YouTubers like me and not like other people. Don't watch the other people. Watch me because I'm specialer and differenter. I'm not like the other YouTubers.
can get. If you like what I make, check out creators like Jaden Salads, Lula Loopsy, Izzy's, Strange Eon, Scumbagovich.
Okay, hey, Izzy's, I don't know how to say her name. I've never known. She makes fantastic videos. They're super, super good. Super, super good. I love her.
John X Woodcat, Debunk File, Maverick Files, Swanene, The Beak, or any of the other hardworking, honest, high-effort, independent YouTubers that are out there.
Hardworking, honest, high-effort, independent YouTubers. Man, fuck you.
You will not regret it. I don't really have too much more to say, other than a huge thank you to the people who came out and shared their opinions. Huge thanks to today's sponsor.
Also, are you not benefiting off of bigger and more well-known content creators being on your video and then also simultaneously on them? Is that not like super weird? Super weird to have people come on in interview in a video where you've also on them like for 30 minutes and specifically also mentioned those people as being people he did not like the content of. Weird.
And thanks to you for watching all the way. I've been Raymundo2112. You've been a great audience, and keep slopping on.
I think that there are valid criticisms that were briefly mentioned in this video about slop content, about reaction content, about commentary that I think actually could have been a really interesting and nuanced discussion that were legitimate and genuine criticisms. But this was just somebody saying, I think it's bad. I don't like it. I think it's bad. I don't like it. I don't think it's high quality. It's not like my content. My content is good and I don't get as many views and they get more views and they don't try and it's gross and I don't like it. And if you try to appease the algorithm, then you're bad, but you also want the algorithm to appease you. Like, come on now. I don't know. This video comes across as highly bitter and not actually investigating or thinking about this in a critical sort of way. And when it comes from somebody who is so deeply pretentious and obviously judgmental and loves to invalidate and delegitimize other people's work, you seem unpleasant. And wow. And it's not even like, I do think that there were valid criticisms that were briefly mentioned, but those were sparsely in between just bitching and moaning that the algorithm doesn't suit you. So, yeah. And this is like a popular opinion. You guys have to understand, those of you who are on my stream and those of you who watch me, you already like this kind of content. You have to understand that people hate React content. People hate commentary content. They hate Slop, but they also watch it, which is a choice that they make. Some people genuinely like to make Slop, and that's okay. And you don't have to watch it, but invalidating other people's work as being not honest or not valuable wholesale if they do X kind of content is weird as fuck to me and really reductive and really just shows that you are insecure because you feel like you deserve more than you get.